Oneness family, this is Shō from Shō Energy Work and Shō HEALth, and I'm here to speak to you today about unmasking the clickbait, around sex, gender, and race, and how those different things are used to distract us. If you think of your awareness system, or what we today call our nervous system, our awareness system as a tree, the tree of life, right? Those things can make the roots and the branches kind of limited in their scope, making people into bonsai people. Truth be told, there are some of us who know how to manipulate the rest of us, and especially they know that around genitals and skin. Genitals and skin, you can get a lot of emotion, you can get a lot of energy worked up around talking about the genitals and skin. So first off, let's start off with gender. And before we start, I want to say this at the beginning. I'll say it a couple of times throughout the video. All love. Let love be the basis. Let unconditional, not conditioned, under the condition you be this, or that you do this with your genitals, or that you have this color skin, unconditional love. So let's take a moment to breathe in and out. Letting out that BS, that bullshit of anything that's going to condition our love, right? My love, Kirti, and me, we have worked on transgender, bisexual, homosexual individuals or people. I feel that there's 3 genders. Now, some of it is semantics. I know that is heavily triggering for some out there. I looked it up just so I could speak on it. 1.7% is what they estimate of people who are born with the hermaphrodite gene. In other words, who have the ability to express both sexes. In other words, to have both gonads, both genitals, both the ovaries and testes and or vagina and penis. And with that being said, I think 0.5% of those actually express and actually have both. So with that being said, if we go back to what I said in Quantum SEX, Central Emotional Exchange, that video, that we've been sold on a binary code, and I think that's what many people are rebelling against. It's that binary code of heads or tails, male or female. And there is a third side, which is really actually both. You either have one of those 2 things, but there's infinite ways that you can express your sexuality. And it may be a technicality. How I'm saying gender is how some people say, what I'm saying is sexuality is how some people say gender. And again, going back to what I said in the beginning, prefacing it, regardless to, we should be loving of any of those expressions. You could be a masculine female who only wants to love women. Or you could be an effeminate man who also only loves women. In other words, you're not trying to be with another man. And then there's all these other beautiful expressions. Some people believe that, big God, whatever you want to call it, this universe cares what you do with your orifices. I don't think the maker of this big grand thing gives a fuck about all of that, honestly, personally. Not that we're trivial, not to trivialize this human being experience, but let's also not put too much weight on it either. I think we could be a little bit more playful about how we show up with things and do what is natural to you. And then don't try to influence others to do the same as you. You do you, let others do them. And the powers that were know that if they can strike disharmony, that, just like the heart, and you see the flat line, like this is the flat line, right? You want up and down energy. But here's the thing, like you have different levels that you can get that. So it doesn't have to be at a disharmony or a way that's going to cause disease and anger and stress and sadness in people. All the talk about gender and everything like that, not allowing your consciousness to actually fall into it or give too much use to it one way or the other. Another thing to be aware of is, so you have that as far as like people's sexuality and changing, they're changing their sexuality and their biology and all these different things or whatever. The other thing is pitting the genders against each other. That's another thing that causes disharmony, right? In the dating realm and feminism, which is a very, and I know that there's different degrees of feminism, right? There's some feminine feminists, but the majority of feminists are very masculine. It's a very masculine response to masculinity that was not conscious. Getting caught up in these different conversations and watching a whole bunch of videos, and now you got to type up your, and now you're getting mad, and like, what for? Understand the trap. This is the internet. This is the World Wide Web. Nets and webs are used for hunting. If it's called a net, the internet, if it's called the World Wide Web, what exactly is being hunted? It's us. Gender, and then lowercase sex, with the way that it's played with us, like trying to get us into that clickbait or thirst traps. That's all going to keep us locked into the lower part of our body, right? Or if we do use our mind or hearts, but it's still doing the same patterns, it's not doing anything new in the awareness system, right? So what we want to do is we want to expand beyond the old way of thinking. So if you find yourself often triggered about certain things, ignore it the next time around, or go out in nature, let your feet hit the ground and breathe through that motherfucker and let it go. Stop falling into it. And then the last one is race. And that's another one that we can fall into quite a bit. Right now, in May 2023, or as I like to say, the year 200,023, can change up the narrative. So we're told that a new video came out, or new quote unquote documentary of Cleopatra. And there's a big to-do about it being that the Cleopatra depicted there is Black. And so you got all sorts of people weighing in. You got modern day Egyptians saying that that's not them, and that that's cultural appropriation, and that they're taking that now Black people are taking these Arab or Egyptians culture. You have white people weighing in on it because a lot of white people are over it, because the woke culture, the same culture that's been shoving gender and telling people that if you change up your body parts and take some hormones, you're now the other sex or the other gender, that needs to be accepted. That same faction of media and everything is pushing a Black Little Mermaid on people, and gender swapping and race swapping major characters from different movies and everything. And now they're doing historic figures. And there's really no need to do any of this. All people, all human beings, the full spectrum, we've all lent our greatness and shared our greatness. We've all been the victims. We've all been the victor. We've all been the villains at different times in our story, not his story, not her story, in our story. And so with that being said, don't fall into that trap either. Falling into this trap about the whole thing with the Egyptians. Truth be told, the ancient Egyptians probably were very heterogeneous people, because they were just like America is a nation that has many different quote unquote races in it, because there's a hub and is a place where people congregate, because there's high culture, or somewhat high culture, I guess you would say, in America. But I heard one person, I think it was John Henry Clark, say, in order to have a civilization, you must first be civilized. Or when somebody asked Gandhi what he thought about Western civilization, he was like, I think that would be a good idea. It's kind of comical, because the modern day Egyptians getting angry about that. I think the people back in that time with that heterogeneous Egypt, or Kamut or Kemet, you would have had some people who look like modern day Egyptians. The ancient Egyptians would have also, in addition to today's modern Egyptian, you would also had modern day Ethiopians and Eritreans, people who look like those phenotypes, as well as the Kushites or the Nubians, right? Which are darker skinned people that maybe look like some people in Sudan. But here's the thing for all of us, whether you're talking white, Jewish, Arab, Black, and that's the groups here. I know there's other groups around the world, but these are the main ones in this story, right? Because if none of us motherfuckers can build a fucking pyramid today, you all should shut the fuck up. If our consciousness is not at the place where we can line up a pyramid on the fucking equator and move, multi-ton pieces of slab of stones and build faces in limestone that they can't even figure out how they fucking did it. If modern day Egyptians can't do it, modern day Black folks, modern day white folks, modern day Arabs can't do it, shut the fuck up. And that doesn't mean that it's got to be goddamn aliens either. I believe we are the aliens. We are the interstellar ones. We are the ones who have come down this motherfucker, forgot what we've known, and now we're remembering. And part of getting back to the remembrance is not getting caught up on this dumb shit of race anymore. Ashe? And so that's it, y'all. I just wanted to go over a little bit of this. Again, unmasking some of these distractions. If you haven't seen already, you can check out my other video, Distractions and Distortions. We don't want to be bonsai people with the roots of our awareness system all tied and jacked the fuck up. Then these are some of the things that we can unknot and let our branches and roots stretch out a little bit on, and not stress out on, but stretch out on. And thank y'all for coming through, y'all. Again, I'm Shō from Shō Energy Work and Shō HEALth. I do energy work, me and my lady, for couples, singles, non-binary, binary, whatever, however you get down with your pronouns, we can be of some assistance. Also, I have a book, Soul Sacred Orgasmic Living, and also do a series of different workshops and everything. And if you like this content and you want to go deeper into, like, these are some of the things that can tie up our energy. If you want to go into the actual practices or the expressions to build up your energy, to cultivate your energy, to expand your consciousness and your awareness, your orgasmicness, your blissfulness in life, to check out my Patreon. And if you just want to support the channel and give some flow there, I appreciate you checking out the Patreon and join it up. And again, thank y'all for coming through, y'all. Keep that SEX in your life. Keep shining, keep evolving, and do so exponentially.
All the wins, yeah.